Anthony Grasso here, bringing you financial news you can use. In this video, I'm doing a stock analysis on Zomedica. Is this another pump and dump penny stock scheme that social media and the Reddit forums are pumping up right now? Well, let's find out together. I'm going to go over a summary of the company, its product offerings, recent headline news, financials, analyst projections, and give it my buy, hold, or sell recommendation for both you short-term crazy investors out there and those long-term growth investors. And as always, folks, don't forget to smash that like button down below and consider subscribing and hit that notification bell if you'd like to hear daily stock reviews and recommendations from an unbiased source. So let's get right into it. So the company Zomedica is a developmental stage veterinary diagnostic and pharmaceutical company. The company is engaged in developing products for the companion animals such as the cats, the dogs, and horses by focusing on needs of clinical veterinarians. It is focused on developing 3 diagnostic platforms. The first one is a bulk acoustic wave sensor-based veterinary point-of-care diagnostic platform for performing immunodiagnostic testing. The second one is the Raman spectroscopy-based point-of-care diagnostic platform for the detection of pathogens and liquid biopsy assays for the detection of cancer along with related consumables. Now, the company's TrueForma product candidate is an investigational device being developed as a point-of-care biosensor platform, and that's one we're going to actually mention in this video. ZOM is a diagnostic platform being developed to screen for a range of pathogens in companion animal feces, urine, respiratory, and dermatological samples. It is developing ZM017 as a canine cancer liquid biopsy platform. Now let's go ahead and look at some news of the company right now. So now this is probably the biggest one that hit today. Now the company increased previously announced deal offering of common shares to $173 million. They increased that from what it was, just from like 20 or 30 million. So due to demand, the underwriters agreed to increase the size of the previously announced public offering and purchase on a firm commitment basis of 91 million common shares at a price to the public of $1.90 per share, less underwriting discounts and commissions. The closing offering is expected to occur on about February 11th in just 2 days. So Zomedica intends to use the net proceeds from the offering for the continued development of its diagnostic platforms, including making milestone payments, if any, as they come due under its existing license and collaboration agreements for strategic acquisitions, if and when they become available, and other general corporate and working capital purposes, and may use a portion of the net proceeds to repurchase some or all of its outstanding Series 1 preferred shares, all through no agreement has been reached with respect in the terms or conditions of any such repurchase. Now, back in January, another article came out. So they signed a distribution agreement with Miller Veterinarian Supply for the distribution of TrueForma. Now, Miller is one of the veterinarian industry's fastest growing businesses right now. That was established in 1920 and is now the oldest wholesale veterinarian distributor in the United States right now. The company currently is managed by a group of veterinary industry veterans. Remaining small and independent allows Miller to provide exceptional customer service by employing knowledgeable people who know how to practice functions and by being very flexible. Not content to rest on their 100-year history, the company is growing rapidly and expanding aggressively. Now, under the terms of this distribution agreement, Miller will be representing Zomedica in states ranging from Texas to Maine, concentrated in the eastern and mid-eastern portion of the United States. As previously announced, they will be supported by several Zomedica sales employees in the field assigned to work with the Miller sales representatives. Okay, so that's great, and this news actually came back, 1 month ago. So there's been no real news of the company in the past couple days for the recent share price jump. So let's go ahead and look at some of the fundamentals of the company right now. As you can see here, it just freaking skyrocketed to an all-time high of $2. It was up about $2.70 a share on February 8th, and it crashed back down to $2.31 because of the news of the dilution of shares. Now, it currently has a market capitalization of $2.24 billion. This number is going to be very important later, so remember that. With a share price of $2.31, it plunged 14% on that news. The current shares outstanding are $550 million. In today's volume alone were 330 million shares traded. The company currently has no revenues and is forecasted to be profitable over the next 3 years, which is considered above average market growth. But one major problem is we have no idea and when that's going to happen, and no analyst projections on when those revenue targets look like in the coming up future. The company does have stable cash runway, has sufficient cash runway because it just raised a bunch of money, so it's just sitting on a pile of cash, and their balance sheet looks good. So what do the analysts say? Let me bring it back here. So the analyst consensus was a moderate buy with a $1.20 price target over the next 12 months. It has definitely drastically surpassed that target. So my buy, hold, or sell recommendation on Zomedica, here are my thoughts. There is some potential with the company's flagship pet diagnostic platform, TRUFORMA, which is a tool to help veterinarians detect adrenal and thyroid issues in dogs and cats. There has been accelerated demand for veterinarian services in the past year that has already trending upwards before the pandemic. The Animal Pets Association expects total U.S. spending on pets to reach a record $99 billion in 2021. The pet care market associated with diagnostic services is expected to reach $2.8 billion annually by 2024, and Zomedica does have plans to be a major player in this area. So their target market capitalization for what the total revenues would be right now would be $2.8 billion, that the total market, and they're one of the players in that. So current veterinarians send blood samples out to larger laboratories, and Zomedica's self-installed TRUFORMA platform, it's bigger than a toaster. So think about just having a little toaster in the veterinarian office, and the veterinarians can provide results on their own without keeping clients waiting and sending the blood samples out. So shares of diagnostic stocks generally trade about mid-single digit multiples of annual sales, and Zomedica stock could soar if the company quickly gains a significant share of the growing market. That includes the total cap of $2.9 billion. So global spending on diagnostic services for companion animals is expected to rise by around 10% annually, and as I said, reach $2.8 billion by 2024. So Zomedica has announced an agreement with the Miller Veterinarian Supply, who will distribute TRUFORMA. And so yes, there's some potential with the good news, but also you have to look at the bad news. The TRUFORMA platform relies heavily on bulk acoustic wave BAW technology. Zomedica licensed it from Qorvo for $5.4 million upfront in 2018. Qorvo's technology allows a wide variety of electronic devices to communicate, but measuring thyroid hormone concentrations in blood samples is far outside Qorvo's area of expertise, though. We have to note that. While the technique seemed successful during small verification tests, Zomedica still hasn't completed large validation studies yet. Now, back in the spring of 2020, Zomedica completed those thyroid hormone verification studies using around 100 samples, and the results correlated strongly with standard tests. So what we know today is that Zomedica intends to launch TRUFORMA by the end of March. If it can't produce successful validation data, there is great chance that the company will not have any revenue for the foreseeable future right now. Validation studies should not take this long, by the way, and the slow pace of development is a serious cause of concern for everybody. Also, we have to examine if veterinarians will actually switch over from their current testing procedures that are in place for a small-sized on-site platform that offers quick convenience. This will definitely be a challenge for Zomedica to find the right pricing strategy to lure the veterinarians into the platform. If it costs if it costs 5 times the amount of money to have a toaster versus just sending out the sample, do you think veterinarians are just going to buy that little device for their offices? Probably not. So you have to have a good pricing strategy. As the company stands right now, it has zero revenue and around $90 million in cash, plus the potential $173 million that it's announced in its share offering. But it does have a $2.1 or $2.2 billion market capitalization. Let's repeat that. It currently has $2.2 billion market capitalization. With all those thinking that it's going to go to the moon, hasn't it already? Analyst Ramakanth, I can't even pronounce his name, Ramakanth, boosted its price target on Zoom from 30 cents a share to $1.20 a share. Now, the share price of $2.37 right now, or $2.31 right now, doesn't that reflect, that reflects the prospects of TRUFORMA and then some by a lot. At first glance, you may think the rapid rise of Zomedica shares is due to game-changing developments with Truforma, but news of this product's commercialization release was announced back in November, and the stock just started crazy over the past couple weeks. Once the Reddit get-rich-scream hype subsides, shares will trade based on their fundamentals. When this happens, the share price will fall drastically. So if you're a short-term investor that buys into the hype, there is some upward short-term potential, but if you're a long-term growth investor, I would stay away from the stock in the short term. I do not see any reason to chase this rally at all. I just have to say FOMO. Investors eager to invest in Zomedica right now should at least wait until after Truforma tests have been successfully validated and until the company shows signs of a successful commercial launch. At the current share price levels and market capitalization, this stock probably is not worth the risk right now. There is so much more downside potential, so especially when the stock is being hyped up for a pump and dump scheme on social media and Reddit. So there you have it, folks. And as always, don't forget to smash that like button down below and consider subscribing. Hit that notification bell if you like to hear daily stock reviews and recommendations from an unbiased source that gives you the good, the bad, and the ugly of any given stock. Until the next stock update video later today, folks. Ciao.